affiliate world. I think this has been the, I don't know, like 15th time I'm on stage. But every time I try and come up with a new presentation, and this one has been written for you guys. I wanted to come up with really, really good golden nuggets and not talk about the generic stuff that everyone here as a media buyer actually knows. The last few years, I've had a very big transformation with my business, and I managed to really level up and go up to 9 figures with Ecom, which is extremely hard. And I just wanted to share some of the stuff that helped me do this. Some of the stuff is going to be extremely tactical and technical, and some of the stuff is going to be more of like mindset or like how I see things with Ecom. We're going to go through a bunch of stuff. So this is it. This is me. I'm an affiliate. I also have a very small agency, but the main stuff I'm doing at the moment is Ecom. Altogether, we're gonna reach probably this year something like in between $200 to $220 million in revenue, which is very big. I'm also an Affiliate World Hall of Famer, and this QR code has everything that you guys need in order to stay in touch with me. Go on my YouTube channel, add me on Instagram, friend me on Grindr, and this is gonna go throughout the presentation. I'm also known as the guy that met his wife through an advertorial, believe it or not. How many people you know that ran a campaign for that? A successful one, because we actually ended up proposing on Affiliate World, if you guys remember that. And believe it or not, we actually got married. And believe it or not, I'm a dad now to Arya, who's 3 months old, and she looks a lot bigger than she does in this picture. So that's the first Affiliate World baby, and I know that usually people don't clap, but I think it's really appropriate. Thank you. It has been a fucking journey. Look at this, fucking 3 photos that kind of like sum up all of my Affiliate World journey. What a nightmare. So really, I love this industry, and this industry is something that I built life around, from my bachelor's party to my wedding to the fact that I even have a dad now. So let's jump into it. It took me something like 17 years to really give you all of this knowledge that I'm going to share. I am going to go through this fairly quickly, because I want to give you as much as I can in this short amount of time. I went, when I started building this presentation, on ChatGPT and Gemini, and I really wanted to understand how many e-com stores are there, how big is the market, how many stores are actually doing 9 figures and above, and I understood that the tools, knowledge, balls that you need, team and experience in order to reach 9 figures is something that takes a lot of time. And what Gemini said is that only 5% of all DTC e-com stores are doing above 10 million in revenue, which is very, very small. And then if you take into consideration and dive deeper, you see that there are something like 90,000 companies that are actually doing over 100 million in the digital marketing DTC e-com space. So some of them are IPO'd and not even relevant. So in this presentation, I really want to talk about that 5% and above. And we're going to go through a bunch of stuff. I'm going to talk about the platforms that we actually use. I'm going to talk about the pixel setup, our checkout system, and how our funnels and checkout flow looks like. I'm going to talk a little bit about funnel and payment optimization. We're going to touch what I call sustainable e-com. I'm going to teach you and show you how we test and scale. I'm going to talk about A/B testing and why I think A/B testing drastically changed on Facebook. And then I'm going to touch a little bit towards the end on bottom of funnel campaigns. So the platforms that we actually use at the moment are mainly 3 platforms. Meta, Google, we do mainly YouTube and search, and then Applovin. That's where we spend most of the money. I try and do consultations like twice a week, and a lot of people are really trying to scale up lots of platforms, and I'm here to tell you that you do not need a lot of platforms in order to spend that amount of money. You need a good combination of a good team, creatives, cash flow, and focusing on being very good with at least 1 platform. Outside of that, we have a very good backend, which is Amazon and email, where we do 50% of our sales, depends on the time of year. And when it comes to how we see things, Meta is where we actually do most of the testing. And then if something works, I'm going to talk a little bit about it. But we use those winners and we create iterations for YouTube and for Applovin, and that's how we do that. For those of you who are trying to scale on multiple platforms, again, know that it is possible to run on a very narrow structure. I'm going to jump into the pixel, which is something that everyone here probably uses. People who buy on Meta ads, everyone, thank you. So what happens usually when you set up the pixel, you just either use a direct connection with Shopify, or you just use the manual setup of the pixel, and I don't think people here understand how much important the pixel is. People focus on creatives, on the funnel, on the offer, on pricing, on A/B testing, but it's not going to work unless you have a very, very good pixel setup. And this is why you run with the secret sauce that Facebook is, the engine, basically. I see a lot of people, again, with really bad setup, and the right setup would not just help you decrease your CPAs, but also help you find new audiences and really scale your campaigns. So let's go through a bunch of stuff that you need to know. And again, this is not like low-level stuff. I am presuming that you guys know what I'm talking about, so I'm only giving you the stuff that I was missing in order to really scale and get there. So the first thing you want to make sure is when you go inside of Facebook to the events manager and go into your pixel, you want to make sure that you are sending both browser and server pixels. This works, by the way, whether you have an Ecom thing or you are an affiliate. If you're an affiliate, make sure that you're using the right tracker that also sends both server and browser pixels. Okay, you want to make sure something that has a good integration, like RedTrack, for example. This is how a healthy setup of a pixel should look like. You look at the graph, you see the correlation between browser and server pixels. You want to make sure that it looks kind of like the same. The whole purpose of this was made by Facebook post iOS 14 in order to give the algorithm as much data and information as possible. Second, you want to have as high of a match rate as possible. If you go into your affiliate campaigns, you are highly likely running on something like 5 or 6 out of 10. If you're running through Shopify, you're probably running somewhere in between 7 to 9. You want to get to that 9+. How you get into that 9+ is sending a lot of information to Facebook. That takes a few things. The first one, you want to make sure that you don't duplicate conversions, meaning you're using the deduplication thing. That means that you're sending something called parameter called Facebook Click ID, and if it's being sent from both the server and the browser pixel, it would remove the one that has less data. This is as important as sending traffic, sending conversion data at all, because if you send double the amount of conversion data, it's like you're not sending anything. It's going to ruin your campaigns. The second thing you want to make sure is that you have the advanced matching thing on. That means that you're sending or having Facebook look for everything. If you're running through an affiliate network, make sure that they actually send you more information. Most of the affiliate networks would just send you the value and the postback ID that helps you post it back to the tracker and the platform. But you also sometimes they would have stuff like first name, last name. It's enough that you do that in order to bypass any affiliate, or if you have an Ecom product that's going to help you push. You also want to make sure that you enable the without code tracking. By the way, I see that you guys are filming this and taking photos, and that's great. Please don't forget to tag me. Don't be, I've worked on this for like fucking hours, So without code tracking, and then one of the things, 99% of people, it's actually closer to 100 of people that I audited their accounts, do not use the conversions API thing. I personally use Zapier. You could use whatever you want, but you want to make sure that you have cloud-based integration in order to reach that high match quality. If you don't have that high match quality, Facebook is not going to be able to optimize. It is walking or running blindly. The other thing is making sure that you add a domain allow list. If you have ever gotten an email from Facebook lately saying that they got some conversion data from other domains and garbage that's being sent, you want to make sure that you clean it so you don't get any parameters blocked or something like that. So make sure that you're adding your domain to the allow list. Let's jump to the second thing, funnels. And basically two things that I want to open up when I'm talking about funnels related. You know, the base and core of anyone who wants to run Ecom and sale and squeeze is really optimizing your conversion rates, AOV and LTV. But there is a lot more to squeeze, and it's basically made out of two parts. There is the front end part and the back end. Front end meaning the checkout system, funnel builder, and then the upsells, and then the back end has to do with boring stuff like payment routing, retries, and subscriptions, which I'm going to talk about in a second. How we optimize is not using Shopify. We use a third-party checkout system. There are plenty out there. We personally like to use Checkout Champ, and I suggest that you do that as well. Checkout Champ allows us to really build a very sophisticated flow with A/B testing and upsells and everything like that. The thing that we do in terms of editing the checkout page is we always add urgency and we A/B test that. Sometimes it's the location on the page, sometimes it's the font size and stuff like that. We also add a text with our money back guaranteed, and then we A/B test testimonials. Believe it or not, that has moved the needle a little bit. And then we also add the ability to choose more types of products, different bundles, different price points. This is the biggest thing we're A/B testing. We also A/B test the size, color, and location of the call to action button. And then we always show the user the whole process of what to expect and how the flow actually works. We also add the security measures and the types of credit cards that we accept. These are really basic stuff. You can look up my brands and actually see what we're running at every moment. And for upsells, platforms like Checkout Champ really allows us to A/B test what's working in terms of the take rate and how much money we're making on each one. So these are the stuff that we optimize in terms of the front end. In terms of back end, let's talk about some really interesting stuff. So this is something that had huge impact. And, you know, I came from an affiliate background, so I didn't know a lot of stuff about payment options. And all of this, you know, logistic stuff really sounded boring to me. It wasn't interesting to me until I started diving deep into this. And I understood that if you're running on more than 500,000 revenue a year, you have to do this because this has helped us recover 28 of otherwise lost sales. And this is made out of three or a couple of very simple stuff. The first one is payment routing. So basically, you want your checkout system to be able to understand payment routing rules. If a card comes from a certain country, certain type, what merchant is more likely to process it? Very, very, very simple. And this is like, it's called multiple merchant accounts, and they use something called enhanced routing rules. Super interesting. I think that you need to do that because with Ecom we have such a low profit margin. The second thing is that retries. If someone tries to purchase, it fails, you want to make sure that you have a system that actually keeps on trying. We use Checkout Champ for that, and it actually works as well. The third thing, which is the most important one, anyone who's used like companies like Stripe and those kinds of like big companies, and they have subscriptions, have tasted how it feels losing the merchant account. You want to make sure that if you're using subscriptions, you're dividing it between a few places. So if, you know, the shit hits the fan, you're not completely fucked. Let's talk a little bit about sustainable e-com because I think that throughout how this industry really evolved, there is the question of white hat versus black hat, and a lot of people who are running gray hat and black hat stuff are saying, oh, my stuff is white hat because we use white hat creatives and blah, blah, blah. And I want to kind of like align something here. What really separates 9 to 7 figure brands from 9-figure ecom business is the fact that they're not trying to kill the customer. They're building something that's sustainable. They're not using false promises. And it's very easy. The way that you actually measure if your business or any business is legit is by answering one simple question. Would I want my mom, dad, brother, sister to look at this ad and or buy this product? If the answer is no, that's black hat. Period. Very easy. If you want to reverse engineer your life and ask, okay, in 5 years, 10 years from now, what do I want to have? What am I going to build? And the answer to that, and I'm okay with anyone here who's trying to build something, you know, very small flip and kind of like make a few $100,000 a year, and that's completely fine. But if the answer is, I want to build something that's sustainable, something that's big, I want to maybe potentially exit the business, the only way is to give up the black hat, you know, kind of like mindset. And remember, guys, you know, 2013 on Facebook is gone. A lot of people got scammed. People are smarter. You just want to build a good business. Let's talk about some A/B testing and how you take it to the next level. So I want to say that from what I've tested, the old way of A/B testing is gone. What we used to do as affiliates or ecom owners is use like a tracker, have a dynamic link, and then A/B test the advertorial versus quiz, or the different kind of like sales checkout pages, and that has died. And the reason why it's died is how Facebook actually looks at things now, and the AI kind of like analog to digital switch that Meta has done. So what happened was that Google has been doing it for quite a while. If you ran an ad, Google was looking for a few things. The relation between your ad, the text that you have inside the landing page, and then, you know, the advertorial and the product that you're actually running, and it was targeting based on that. Post iOS 14, Facebook actually stopped a lot of the targeting options that we had, and it started switching into that. So you have a situation that, you know, if you clicked on an ad that's like a real estate ad or an ad that has to do with dogs, you're more likely to see more of these ads. So Facebook actually looks at the image, video, the text that you wrote inside the ad, and the text that you have inside your landing page, advertorial or quiz, and what happens is that it learns whatever you have done with it. So let's say you have a new ad account, new pixel, new page. You started running traffic. What happens is that the data that the pixel actually gets helps the algorithm align the product specifically with the type of people. And what happens is that after a while, after a few tens of conversions, the pixel actually gets married to that specific page because everything on that campaign and pixel is dialed into that specific page. And what happens is that you can get to the point where you want to A/B test. Let's say you started running an advertorial, or let's say you started off with a quiz and you want to A/B test 50% towards the other one. The first initial page that the pixel actually got married to is the one that's highly likely to be the winner. The reason for that is that it's married to it, and whatever you're gonna run traffic to like a different kind of page means that it's trying to attract the people who are more likely to convert through a quiz, but it's actually kind of like targeting advertorial people. I know that it's weird, but unless the quiz is drastically better, it's not going to work because it's aligned towards advertorials. So the only way that I actually managed to really get more from this and really kind of like execute and take what I'm teaching you right now into like practical stuff, you can use it for two things. The first one is help you scale. The second one is help you lower CPAs and actually A/B test in a correct way. The way to do it is either use a different pixel that's completely clean or have that pixel not get traffic for like a few weeks so it's being cleaned. After that happens, you're basically going to see that the metrics that you're going to get, the CTRs, the conversion rates on that new page are going to be very much different. And that helps you not just lower the CPA because you're going to be able to A/B test and really see whether the advertorial or quiz works better, but it's also highly likely going to help you scale, because if you're already satisfied with what you're running at the moment, you can just open up another pixel, another ad account, and use that in order to touch different placements, different audiences that are more likely to convert. So I just spoke about all of this. Okay, so, okay, sorry. I was just speaking about everything without really moving. So the other thing that you wanna do maybe is use the different types of algorithms inside of Facebook. So we all know that ABOs act very much different than CBOs or ASC campaigns. When you have a fresh new pixel and you set up an ASC campaign, that is highly likely going to drive different kind of audiences. And again, it's going to help you not just lower CPA, but also try and scale your campaigns. So let's talk about how we actually test and the whole flow that we have for our Ecom. So we test a bunch of stuff, from our landing pages to creatives, and we try and test everything. The first thing we test is creatives, and the first platform we usually do that with is Meta. So we have an ABO structure where we have low spend, and every ad set would get one creative. So we look at very initial metrics, like the first kind of like few dollars or tens of dollars that are being spent. We looked at CPCs, CPMs, and the placements that this ad group actually gets. And then we have the first round of pauses. So we just have 2 days of full ad spend that's being, spent on those ad sets. And then we pause everything that has to do with like bad engagement or really bad CPCs or, stuff like that. So that's like the first round of pauses that we have. And then the second round is anything that didn't convert after 3 days of full ad spend that's being utilized. The third round is if something converted at a really high CPA. Since we have a lot of creatives, we would just kill it. But if the CPA is kind of like 50% close to the target CPA that we have, we would highly likely switch to bid cap or cost cap in order to really take the CPA down. If we found winners, we're going to get them into an ASC or CBO campaigns, up to 5 creatives on each campaign. And if it's like a very, very strong creative that really got a lot of engagement, we use the post ID and we create an ASC campaign on its own just to kind of like run it. We also have kind of like an alignment in terms of the testing and what to expect. So, for example, if you know that you have a Q4 product, you know that you're going to have much less winners out of the creatives that you test outside of Q4, and we align that. So, for example, we know that our main product is a mainly Q4 product, and outside of Q4, only 2% of creatives are going to be winners, and that's okay. And then once we get to like Q3, our threshold is 15%, and then 25% of creatives work on Q4. And that has to do with a combination of experience that we have with what's working, but it also, we use that as kind of like a way to measure if what we're doing is okay or not. So if we get, for example, 15% on Q4, we know that there might be an issue with the pixel or something like that, and we go and check, and we usually find it. In terms of scaling, we scale in 3 ways: creatives, content, and targeting. The way that we actually scale based on creatives is we test, like I just told you, the initial creatives, and then we take the winners that worked on Facebook, and we get an Applovin version, and we get a YouTube version to run these ads if they're video ads. Applovin also has image ads now. And when we recognize a specific ad that has been working better than everything else, we try and create something like 10 to 20 different iterations that have different hooks or different endings or different types of call to actions or different lengths. So we try and see what works for each platform and stuff like that, and then we do that. The other side that really helps us scale is content. So we make different landing pages, advertorials, and we also change the funnels. When we use trackers, we always try and align the type of campaign and the type of platform to the type of funnel. So if we know ASC might work better with a quiz, we're going to send all ASCs to that specific quiz. And if we know ABOs for testing works better with an advertorial, we do that. So we just touch different audiences, just like I talked right now. And the third way that we scale is not a big way in terms of like the amount of money that we spend, but it's very good in terms of ROI. So if we find winners, we would sometimes open up like a CBO campaign with like 3 to 6 ad sets that are lookalike or interest-based. Again, we don't spend a lot of money on that method, but this is working very good. When you do that, make sure that you don't use as a suggestion on Facebook, because I see a lot of people are trying to target custom audiences and then they miss out on actually targeting those audiences. So the final part is bottom of funnel campaigns. I can't believe I'm on time. This is amazing. So we have some bottom of funnel campaigns, and these are running outside of the platforms that I talked to you about, because why not get the good traffic that's coming from Facebook, Applovin, and YouTube, and just extract everything that you can, for example, on Taboola and places like that. So even if you're not usually running on Bing, GDN, natives, you should have at least a bottom of funnel campaign running there. And we use a few types of audiences. We have wide, added to cart, and initiated checkout, so we could really see what's working. And if something doesn't work with a wide audience, we can go deeper into the funnel, into people who actually added to cart. We also add UTMs to all of campaigns, and that way we can use that on other networks inside Google that helps us bid adjust or exclude them. So if we know specifically that people who added to cart work better on like GDN or search campaigns, we can see that inside the campaign's audiences and then make adjustments to it. Last part, I do not have a course or anything to sell you on, but I am in marketing. I am going to do a book signing outside tomorrow, I think at noon. So if you guys, I don't have lots of books here, but if you guys want my book, come and grab it tomorrow. I also have a very good YouTube channel that's completely free with lots of videos and knowledge. So make sure that you friend me. And I always love this industry and to keep on giving. So if you have any questions, make sure that you reach out, send me a message. And as I said, I don't have any course or something to sell you. It's just me sharing information from my 17-year journey as a media buyer. Thank you, Affiliate World.